Good morning. We got interrupted. You gotta love technology. If a call comes through, even though I put do not disturb, it interrupted it. So today's going to be offered in two components. We were doing our sun salutations, and now we're going to come back to the whole point of today's class. I wanted to do was wide leg forward fold, seated and lying down. So let's start with coming onto our mat. Legs are in front of us. And I may tilt this so you guys can see better. We're gonna start, oh that's better I think. So we're gonna do seated forward fold, legs are together. Some people refer to this as a river. I'm just gonna use this as an assessment to see where I'm at. So sitting upright, Dandasana, staff pose, palms beside you, pressing into the earth so we root to rise in the back of the heels and our hands and our glutes, and in between is the leg, the hamstring. So as I rise up, shoulders back, this might be it. Just passively sitting here is a deep stretch for some people. If I want to go further, I'm going to bring my hands in the sky, reach up, exhale, fold, and oh, I instantly feel equal tightness in my back and my legs. So I'm just going to sit here, hands resting on my shins for a moment, staring at your toes, and just see what happens with gravity. Maybe I stay here and there's no other movement in my surrender, or maybe my body softens and I go a little deeper. And I can feel that there isn't going to be a lot of movement without further stretching. Let's close our eyes and take 3 breath rounds here. My arms can be folded, they can be on the floor. Excuse me. And then come back up. Roll out your ankles. Let's go a little wider. Medium wide leg forward fold. I'm going to move my sits bones into exposure by pulling that bum flesh out of the way, and then upright. And I might stay here, hands on my knees. Close your eyes, 3 breaths. Option to slide into a fold. So everyone's going to be different. Some of you are going to be upright. I'm very aware of my sits bones and my tailbone rooting down and the back of my heels rooting down. Option to fold. And in this pose, I'm noticing tension in the lower back. I want you to use this time to assess where's your body holding tension. And then maybe come back up. One more time, hinge forward. And then come back up. Okay, we've done enough that way. Now I want you to do wide leg forward fold standing. Now I love this one because I'm going to show you using 2 jars as my blocks. These are karate jars made full of sand. They just use some vases from Superstore. You can't really see it. Here's one. So I'm using these. You could use a stack of books. You could use a can of apple juice, a little washcloth folded on so it doesn't cut into your hand. And you could use blocks if you have them. So I'm going to come in a standing. My hand, I'm going to bend at the waist and take my palms to these jars or vases. And then first I'm in half back, looking forward. Engage my core and hinge at the waist. Take a moment, check in with those legs. What's happening in the calf, the shin, the hamstrings, and then come back into half back. Once more, engage your core, hinge at the waist. Knees can be micro bend if this feels impossible. My belly's coming towards my thighs. Everyone's gonna have a different variation in this. And half back. I want to take it a little further, so I'm going to inch toward my feet the wide as I feel good. So for me, my hips are in a different mobility than maybe yours. Toes turn in slightly, hands staying under the shoulder, and then bend the elbows back, hinge at the waist. So I might come into half fold. I might take my hands to the floor. Everyone's different. And then half back. Engage your core, fold. Maybe look behind you. Half back. Once more. Engage the core, fold. My arms are basically in Sphinx arms. Some of you might hold your ankles, some might hold your hips, some might interlace your hands on your lower back. And then coming back and half back, inchworm your feet in, and let's come into a squat. So that pose, very different than when I'm in a seated wide leg forward fold. And let's move these bad boys out of the way. I'm gonna come back up to my seated wide leg forward fold, and we're coming back to that idea of surrender. So I could have my stack, here's what it would look like. I have my jar in front of me, or a stack of blocks, or a stack of books. And I might take my hands to this and hinge. I might stay upright and not even hinge. Just wait for gravity to open up the back of my legs. And take a few moments. I'm feeling the sits bones in the back part of my body rooting down. Gravity stretches the tissue in between. There's that sensation of surrender we talked about. And what kind of accommodations could you make to your body to sit in wide leg, seated, not even a forward fold, for a longer period of time? Some of us, there's a gap behind our knees, and that's where the tension comes from your hamstrings. So some of you might put a folded washcloth or towel behind each knee, or if you have an eye pillow, balled up sock. And let's just take 5 breath rounds here. Not flexing, not folding, just sitting and letting our body surrender into this shape. And you could even set a timer and make this your meditation. And careful that you're not slouching in your shoulders or your upper back. So every so often I sit back onto those sits bones and tailbone. And notice that sensation of surrender, letting go, softening in your joints. And then open attention. So one more thing I want to put out to you, I was considering keeping a 1-minute plank every day just to keep us going. And then that will use that upper body strength and balance for other upper body poses. So that we're not going to let it go. We'll just keep building upon it, but we're not necessarily going to go to 2 minutes, 40 seconds. So give me some feedback. Going forward, we're going to do one more forward fold, and your choice. You can stay seated upright, just again enjoying that opening in the back of the body, or you can slide forward and then come back up, and then slide forward. My toes are pointing to the sky, and come back up. And whatever level of forward it is, maybe your fingers are tented and you're staring a couple feet beyond your feet. We'll take 3 breaths here, eyes open or closed, palms are flat or tented. And then finally coming upright. Bring your legs together, and sometimes I'll do a diamond as a counter pose, or I'm gonna roll out the ankles. So I thought I would grab the animal cards, and as kind of a little scavenger hunt for you today, whatever animal I pull, hopefully it's a Canadian animal, I'd like you to be on a lookout for this animal throughout your day. And maybe it comes to you on a Facebook feed cute alert. Maybe it's in your neighborhood. Maybe it's in a movie or somewhere else on social media. So I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna pull a card. Let's see. Cougar. Okay. And yes, cougar in our culture is also used as a term for a divorced woman over 50 who's dating. But in this case, the cougar emanates confidence, be bold, and take charge. So you're either going to use the characteristic of that, or you're going to look for a cougar somewhere in your day. whether it's in a commercial, Facebook, wherever. I doubt you're going to see one on the street. You're being called to take a role of leadership, and it's natural for certain fears and considerations to surface. Will I be seen as arrogant, bullying, or full of myself? Will others listen to me? Will I be challenged? Well, the truth is, these are all possible. You just need to get over it. Rise above all these mind-made fears and heed the call. Whether you realize it or not, you are a natural leader. And there's no need to diminish the hard-earned skills you learned through life lessons, just so you can play it safe. What you have to offer is needed right now, whether it's with your partner, your family, your community, or a larger world around you. You will be judged. Count on it. And you need to hear these judgments, yet not allow them to rule you. Don't mistake ego-driven stubbornness and willfulness for determination. Listen to the voice of your inner nature and the wisdom gathered from experience to guide your choices. Acknowledge that everyone else has made their own choices, including their response to you. Remember that effective leaders are also really good listeners. They know when to follow and when to lead, and when to move forward and when to hold still. So another association is stealth, leadership, focus, and conviction. So I hope you have a beautiful afternoon. I see we're back to our warm temperatures. The good in me sees the good in you. Namaste.